Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now.
On this episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we sit down with Paolo Bacchiarello, the president of REV'IT Sport USA, the brand that's redefining motorcycle gear with innovation, style, and performance. From his journey as a young athlete to chasing his passions in the motorcycle industry and shaping one of the most respected names in riding apparel, Paolo shares incredible insights, behind-the-scenes stories, and a passion that drives REV'IT in a very competitive industry. You don't want to miss this one.
Right. But in order to inspire the most demanding rider, you need to continue to innovate, right? You need to continue to provide solutions that are, as I was saying before, they help to lower the barrier. Like, so when you're riding in the best comfortable situation, so your brain focus on what you're doing.
What's up, One Gang? I used to think that if I spent big money on riding gear with a logo on the back, I was getting top quality. I gave Leather Up a shot. I wasn't sure at first, could I really get quality gear without spending a fortune? But after putting tens of thousands of miles on their jackets and vests, I had my answer. No busted zippers, no loose stitching, just solid, well-made gear that lasts. Leather Up carries trusted brands like Milwaukee Leather, Hot Leathers, and more, with gear for every rider and every budget. Plus, their customer service actually cares and picks up the phone, something rare these days. So do yourself a favor. Check out leatherup.com. Whether you need jackets, vests, chaps, boots, helmets, or luggage, they've got you covered. And because you're part of the One Gang Worldwide family, use code CW20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Stop overpaying, gear up with Leather Up, and see the difference yourself. One Gang Worldwide podcast, brought to you by Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping. Since 1978, Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping has been the trusted name in transporting motorcycles safely across the country. With custom-designed pallets and air ride trailers, your bike is secure and protected every step of the way. By choosing Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping, you're supporting a dedicated small business that prioritizes quality and customer satisfaction. Ship with a peace of mind, knowing your motorcycle is in expert hands. Visit keyboardmotorcycleshipping.com for more information. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
All right, One Gang, welcome to the show. Today is an exciting episode. This is out of admiration for the culture, but I'm going to do my best with an Italian accent to introduce Paolo Bacchiarello. We are pumped to have him. He's the president of REV'IT Sports USA, and we are, again, just excited. We have lots of questions. You have quite the life story, so we're looking forward to having you here. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, Paolo.
Yeah, you did a great job. I have a weird last name and long last name. Yes. Thank you for inviting me to the show. That's
all right, awesome.
Cool.
Hey, well, we'll start it off as we always do, of course, kind of taking it back to the beginning of young Paolo. Where'd you grow up? What kind of kid were you growing up?
Yeah, because of my last name as well, but I'm from Italy. As you may understand.
Where?
So,
Where in Italy?
Piedmont, northwest of Italy, in Piedmont, and
Okay.
You probably heard of Turin,
Of course.
Olympic town as well. But I'm actually nearby there, the best city in the world called Alessandria. I always say that, so my wife got.
She's not from there?
No, she's actually from Chicago, so it's.
Chicago. Okay.
Right on.
No, but it's a small town. Aside, not too far from Torino, and
Nice.
I spent pretty much my first 17, 18 years around there, traveling a little bit here and there, but that's about it. And
You athletic? Were you doing a lot of sports as a kid?
I tried many things. I tried actually some team sport, but then I focused quite a bit on track and field. And it's funny because growing up in Alessandria, I think I had a very good chance actually to start to run. And because there was actually a very good track and field school, not too far from my house. And
Nice.
yeah, so I basically like, started there, and yeah, that became my passion through, some college as well. And
Right on. So starting wide, what kind of piqued your interest in running, and then bringing it down narrow? How'd you wind up in the 400 meter? What drew you to that?
The hurdles.
yeah, it started actually like everything most of the time, sort of random, because I was during the first year of middle school. My PE teacher actually brought me to the track, and started actually to do some stuff like some long jumps and some sprints.
Cool.
And yeah, I mean, at first actually, I thought, yeah, this is actually sort of a hard sport, like
Very.
Yeah.
lots of effort, better actually to
joke.
kick a soccer ball or something. But yeah, but then I don't know, there's something about track and field, but like with, like motorcycles as an example, like that kind of like bring you in pretty fast. Like there's something some magic around that, and so yeah, I like it, the concept of working hard and getting actually some results out of that. I like the concept of uh, yeah, working hard and also getting results on yours, like because what you do, and not because also what the team is performing. And
Right.
so it's like
Yeah.
as an individual sport, of course, like there are pro and con, but yeah, I basically like the fact that I could control actually the performance as well, of course, with training as well. So
Right.
yeah, from there, basically, like I was selected for different groups of Italian, going around the country and to do some races, and
Cool.
and I started to have a lot of fun. Also, like meeting
Right.
with a lot of friends. That's why I keep saying there is lots of similarities with motorcycles, because it's sort of a community, and
Right. Yeah.
you make friends for life, and that's the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
That's cool. So speaking of you get to control the performance, your training, did you do any long distance running as part of your training, and how far would you enjoy running?
Yeah, cross country is something that was mandatory. I'm enforcing
okay.
actually this to my kids as well. I have two kids, right now, 11,
They're
How
doing
old are your
track
kids?
also.
they 11 and 13 years old, and they are
right on.
starting actually to do some track. Like
Nice.
yeah. So, but we started actually with cross country because it is sort of a base for a lot of for a lot of things, prepare you for the season and so on. But to answer to your question, basically, the longest I ran actually by mistake later in my life, also like half a marathon, but I'm not a longer
Nice.
runner. And basically like like max I was doing like 5, 6, 10 miles at max, like for some for some for some longer training. But then I really narrowed down to like shorter run. That's what I like it. And going back to also your original question, like 400-meter hurdles, there was actually a specific focus on hurdles within my city, my town, actually, track and
Really?
yeah. So there were like people actually like doing European Championship and so on, starting from there. And so there was a culture on that. So I sort of like start to do that, and then I specialize in the longer hurdles, one lap. Which is again, I think is something that is beautiful because there are lots of things happening during that lap.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure.
around
For
you
sure.
and so on, and so it's good.
So in 02, you did your best 400. What was it?
Yeah, it's the main thing is that maybe performance was my best 400 probably in terms of time, but I had actually better years also in terms of preparation and so on. In terms of result, yes, I mean it was They were actually like different places during the year that took me to have the best performance, which is like, again, compared to the US is not a lot. So I'm not going to say this because I'm ashamed of this, but compared to US Olympic athletes, this is actually like, still not the best timing, but Italy is like, it's a small country. So we have,
Right, I understand.
yeah, as well. But yeah, so that's, yeah, it was a good year overall. And again, I think it's like the best things that happen, of course, like, training is hard and like everything, like, work is hard, preparation is hard, but then you get to the race and that's actually the particular stuff, like, and you start to have fun.
I was actually going to just ask you, before we get to the transition from sports to business, I did want to ask you, like, a lot of the lessons that you learned at a young age, as far as the training and the things that you were doing for track and for the hurdles, was there some tough lessons in between there that you kind of went through as a young person before transitioning over?
Yes, for sure. I mean, like, I think sport is, in my opinion, probably one of the best training also, for the later life.
Of course.
That's why I'm happy that also, as I was saying before, like, my kids do that and so on. Yeah, when I was actually 17 years old, I was sort of like, top 2 or 3 people in Italy, within my age and specialty.
Wow.
And what's happening is that, like, during one training, I really don't know what I did, but I jumped actually in a weird way. And so I had a very bad accident. So, all my left leg basically broke during the tibia, the patella, blah, 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 ligaments, everything was a mess. So I basically had a setback for, like, I stayed there, like, I stayed in bed for, like, I was in bed for about, 2 months. And then I started to walk again. And,
Wow.
and they suggested, doctors and so on that maybe it was not a good idea to restart to do some track. But, I was lucky enough actually to sort of work, some physiotherapy and other things. So I got back on track and after that, actually, we still got, like, on top of the Italy championship and so on. So it was, lessons like that, I think, are important, for perseverance, for, being stubborn sometimes, like, pays.
Of course.
And so,
Young.
yeah. So that's a little bit what it is.
So that kind of goes into the next question, hearing about your tibia, fibia, patella, ligaments, everything under the sun in your friggin' leg, man. What I guess a lot of athletes struggle with what comes next after competition. So was there a defining moment when you knew it was time to move on from track and field? And what did you have a plan for that move?
Yeah, that's a very good question because it's sort of a double answer. Like, one thing is that I always had clear in my head that being an athlete was something cool, but never sort of a job,
Right.
for life. Because actually, like, in the meantime, like, I was also studying. I started, like, mechanical engineering as well, and so I had, like, so there was not a specific switch. It was more like, getting older and but with that there is also a little bit of regret as well because, like, as I said, I was always thinking, track is a good is a cool thing, is a good thing. But maybe I'm not gonna put 100% there as well, like, because I have other things to do and so on. So overall, actually, there was a good it was just more an organic transformation, and I track and running and so on is something that you, like, once again, like motorcycles, you always bring with you, and so you do it and you continue to do it, and so on. So I'm happy actually that I still actually like it, like to run sometimes and so on. So
Hey, we forgot to ask you in the beginning was how old were you when you started riding?
yeah, so the
And who got you into it?
yeah, so like my dad, of course, but the main thing is that um, yeah, riding in Italy is different than US, as we probably
Of
know very
course.
well, right? So it's normally like in the US, you start with motocross, off-road bikes, and then you get into the Harleys or
Right,
or whatever you like.
right, the street.
Later, yeah, in the street side. In Italy, you start with like what we call scooters that are actually mopeds, and so I had some like Ciao, or like Piaggio Ciao, which are like very basic scooters. Like yeah, back when I was like I think 13, 14 years old, and the culture of that stuff back then was huge because
Of course.
you could change on a 50cc thingy. You could change like so many things. Like you can change the pipes. You can change like the
No
things
kidding, man.
everywhere.
On the
Oh
scooters.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. It was crazy. Like because you had actually some scooters 50cc that could go like I don't know 60, 70, 80 miles per hour.
Wow.
50
Wow.
cc.
But very elaborate, right? So there's lots of stuff happening. So yeah, I started with one. I didn't really put a lot of effort in mine, but was yeah, I started with that part, and then again because of time, different thing. I never really had like a lot of time, but also my parents like didn't let me have like a good
Right.
bike because of like safety reasons and so on. But then when I got into college and so on, yeah, I thought that was I got permission one more time from my parents, but I also got but I thought that actually yeah, I thought it was a good thing to get one. Also was easy to pick up girls with that. So
Of course.
yeah, so, so yeah,
That's funny.
I got my first BMW 650, so like adventure,
Cool.
and then
Yeah, nice bike.
yeah, it was back then was actually like big. Like, for that bike was like yeah, there was a bigger white tank, but anyway, so and then I stayed I think quite consistent with BMW. I never had
Oh,
actually
wow.
too many. I never had I
Other
never
ones.
owned a Harley. I rode a Harley like many times, but I never owned a Harley like after that.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Well, let's get into a little bit of the education and your business mindset. You studied at SDA Bocconi, I think, and then you went and did an executive program at Columbia Business School. What was that transition like for you as far as did you kind of have an idea what you wanted to do once you went into the executive program at Columbia?
Yeah, what I did is I started well. Quick step back. Basically, not
Okay.
much back, but like connected to this. So basically, what's happening is that I did my last year of high school in the US. So I left Alessandria for a full year, and I went to a weird place called Eugene, Oregon. And,
Yeah.
so I spent about a year there, and that I also was yeah, a little bit the reason why I wanted to come back after to work to the US. But
Yeah.
but I did that, and then I went to Polytechnic of Torino, which is like a mechanical engineering school nearby where I was born in Alessandria, and I did actually mechanical engineering because well, first of all, like I like a little bit mechanics as well, but the main thing is that mechanical engineering, I think, prepares you for many other things as well. I never actually wanted to become like I don't know a real engineer, but even though I started actually for a year to do that right after school, but I wanted actually to get an MBA after that, just really to yeah to manage the business part of things as well in general. So that was my idea, and so I had the opportunity, to do the program with SDA Bocconi, which is in Milano, and then I did some other classes, of course, at Columbia, and overall was great because I think it allows me to have a better understanding of what was happening, as I said, in terms of business, in terms of like also international exposure of certain concept, and so yeah, that's one more time. That's something that
Gotcha.
I enjoyed, and I was preparing actually to move to the US by then. So
yeah, right on. So moving forward, your first steps into the motorcycle industry, how did you get into the world of motorcycle gear? Was it something you're always passionate about and it was just kind of natural, or was it unexpected?
no, it was maybe it was both as well, but because again, things sometimes go. Also there is a little bit of random some stuff like in life as well, but the thing is that we have you guys heard of a company called AGV helmets?
Yes.
Okay, so AGV helmets basically was founded in my city. So it means like Amisano Gino, was the founder. Valenza, which is a little place outside Alessandria, founded basically the company right there. And what happened was like, AGV was always, in my mind, had always something very interesting about it. Just like it was a small company, but like with a very international recognition, lots of tradition, very sport oriented because they basically AGV actually was basically the first to start actually to sponsor riders and MotoGP and different tracks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it
Wow.
was like
Realize that.
it was actually like so it was a very interesting story, and so after a year after I finished the Politecnico Torino mechanical engineering, then I joined Fiat, the car company, for a year because that was a sort of a normal transition. But then, I wanted to be back in my city, and that's when I joined AGV. And AGV actually was back then was also a company in a transformation, but they also had, because it was not in the hand of the original founder anymore.
Okay.
But I had a chance.
Well, it was bought by a larger company.
Yeah, but he went through different, ownership. And at the end, actually, Dainese, both them as well. The first actually was like funds, different things. So, but I still had actually the privilege to know Gino Misano, which is again a great,
Cool.
a great guy. Who's actually like he's one of the legendary, in my opinion. Like I put him like in the sort of legends of this industry as well, like but anyway, so it was so it went that AGV is when I started, and then after I joined actually product development, and we started to work with Harley Davidson because we were supplying helmets for Harley.
Right.
So by consequence, I was coming to the US quite a bit. I was going back and forth, like Milwaukee, to basically develop helmets for them and so on. And so that's how I started basically, and until I started put myself to the management back then. Actually, I proposed myself actually like to for coming to the US and working in the US. Something again that I wanted to do especially after like I came here in the US to study back in Eugene after during the high school, and I wanted to be back here working as well. So that's where I started.
Yeah. Can you give us some insight into what an international relationship with product development looks like? Like, what would your month look like? Let's say you go over to Milwaukee, and is it is it project based? Do you have a line of items that you're working on simultaneously? Is it one at a time? What does that look like?
Yeah, back then I was product manager for from product OEM products basically. So AGV back then actually was producing helmets for other companies like BRP or Harley and so on. So it was quite interesting because when I started, there were some difficulties because we were not enough propositive in terms of creativity and so on. So the cool part
Interesting.
that happened, and just to answer, I'm going to answer to your questions sorry, quick, but the thing is that there was a good amount of interaction between HGV, the company back then, and myself, of course, that I was representing the company, and some creative like designers. So the whole idea was actually to get the deck, the briefing from Harley at this point, develop actually some graphic, putting a lot of creativity into it, and bringing back to them some design and actual shells of things that we're developing. So
prototypes. Okay.
Prototypes. So so the work was basically when I was during the time I was in PDP in product development. So there was a lot of connection with the production or the I don't know how to outsource actually different graphics and so on. But the main activity was relationship. So basically, what I liked actually from that job was really the connection between, again, the company Harley at the time and the idea that they had, and actually the fact that you can see the helmet growing from or becoming actually real, from sketch
so cool
all the way to the product, so there are lots in between. There was a lot of things happening back and forth, and so I was actually traveling quite a bit back and forth because of course Harley at the time was one of our bigger customers. So
that's cool.
But
So
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but that actually was one more time. Like I had actually very cool interaction. One time I remember I got in the elevator with Willie G. Was actually going. Yeah, so it was like every time like I was going to travel to the US, I had actually like very interesting encounters. And so I said, okay, I need to move to this place. And so the next phase was okay, how do I convince my company to put myself relocate myself? Yeah. So it's
All right. So that kind of joins well with this next question we got with joining Revit. Obviously, becoming a president of Revit is that's not a small feat. Revit's an international company first, correct?
Yeah, correct. So Revit is a Dutch company, and there is it's out of the biggest player. We consider ourselves one of them, but we're sort of the youngest one. We are celebrating this year actually 30 years anniversary.
Nice.
And we sell in more than 80 countries, and we have offices, of course, worldwide. But the headquarters is based in the Netherlands. I manage just the America side, which is also.
Can you take us a little bit into how that transpired? How you became the president here in the States with Revit? Take us into that little transition. How you left and all of a sudden, man, they said, here you go, man. Here's America, run it.
No, yeah. So it took I think quite some how can I say, some work and some effort for sure.
Of course.
The thing is, this is also connected to a question that you were asking before about which lesson did you learn from track as well? Because what's happening was that there is not so many things that are free in life, right? And so, actually, probably not much. But what's happened was that I really wanted to going back to the US for work, as I was saying. So I remember when I was in AGV, I was doing my daily job, and then I was going back home, and for 6 months, again, because I wanted to go back to the US badly, I started to work on a plan. So my idea actually was to present like a sort of thick plan to the CEO back then and say, here we go. This is my plan. I'm going there. And so that's a little bit what happened, So I don't, if I still have a plan, and if I read it, like it was not that good or perfect, but I think the effort that I put into it was really, it was very they appreciate that overall. So that's why I was, I basically, I came to the US, and then I managed AGV for the US, then Dainese for the US, and South America. And then I got homesick. I had to go back actually to Torino for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes happen.
Of course.
But I brought my
Yeah.
wife back then, so it was like, fortunately, she didn't like to stay in Italy too much. So that's when the opportunity with Revit actually came, because there was an open position to be in New York, to be in charge of the office, and for a branch and so on. So
Right.
I moved back to New York, and and that's where the adventure with Revit started. There was, I think, a very instantaneous, like a natural click, with also the owner of Revit and with the people, the management, and so on. And so, I think it's overall, we gradually started to develop and grow and the market and so on, and we grow together, and and that was basically like what it took us here, and there is still a lot to do in that regards, but Revit is a very company, and I'm confident actually that can continue to do that as well. So.
Paolo, let me ask you this. Coming from the European market and now coming into a company that's kind of setting its roots down in the States and having you run it, what were some of the major obstacles and learning curve things that you had to go through going from your previous company now to taking this over? What were some of the big ones that kind of fall off the top of your head that you remember?
Yeah, it's culture wise, there is of course, like there are a good amount of points there. I think in general, if I have to recap a little bit, maybe I'm just very basic here, but the US has a lot of more enthusiasm than the old Europe, right? What it means is that sometimes you have to be prepared to take quick decision instead of sleeping,
right,
and meeting on a decision for a longer time, which is sometimes also what's happening, with a lot of company in Europe, especially like Italian company or so on. So I think
meaning you're saying basically they take a lot longer to make decisions.
Correct. So basically, like
than to the companies in the States where they kind of just get to it. Let's get it done.
Correct. And
Gotcha.
so business wise, mentality wise, I think is actually, and culture wise, I think is quite important. I think to highlight as one of the main challenges, because sometimes you take a responsibility on quick decision that you need to take in order to move the business forward as well. So that's actually probably in terms of culture / business mentality, that's one of the main points. And then there are many others, but like again, culture being different as well. Like it's hard sometimes to understand exactly the customers, exactly the market, because it's a different customer than Europe.
So the business plan for Europe, did you had to tweak it for the States, or was it pretty similar? Did you bring the same type of you know what I'm trying to say? It's like
No,
the way they target.
yeah. So basically, I have to be careful to answer to this because I'm also in the board of Revit.
Right.
International. But basically what we do is basically we set the strategy overall, right? So for the world and so on. But the point is that we are here with a team, and my role as well, just like we need to sort of translate what it really means in order to connect and bring the message all the way down to the customers, right? Because the main point is that, like, you could have actually great ideas, but if the message actually doesn't translate and get down to ultimately with the same power to the customers, then it's not a good thing.
Spinning your wheels.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, to say very simply, basically, like our function in the US and in the North American, South American market is this: just getting the bigger thing and just like distill it down to what we need to do, and creating actually a good message for final customers.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Right on. Speaking of cultural impact, it's easy to understand or easy to see how Taylor Tech and the idea for Taylor Tech was born from an Italian businessman. It's such a cool concept about custom tailoring racing suits for real, riders. What sparked that idea, and what has the response been like from the community?
Yeah, so thank you for this as well. This is actually like an interesting, it really matches actually what we were just saying, right? So basically, Revit vision was to, overall, Ivan, who's a founder and owner, and Gerben, together with them as well, like they decided to buy this small Italian company that was basically producing most of MotoGP suits for all the brands, because of the quality, because of the core business that we thought that was very good, and so we did, and we decided also to rebrand it from Virkos to RTT. And the vision actually from the beginning to the end was very clear. Like we wanted actually to create a high-end company that could service the made-to-measure business overall. So we had we knew that the made-to-measure, meaning like you create your own suit with your measurement, colors, and so on. As a customer, there was a lot of potential with that. So we really actually wanted to in a way create our own market within the segment and so on. And so we launched it also with the US, within the US and Canada, and was very recently, within the last year. And it's been a very interesting learning curve, and surprisingly a very good market for us.
Awesome.
Because there is, I think that's a little bit one of the sort of a trend in our industry as well, like customization, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's an important one. Customization in general, right? Because like this week we have here in Vegas also one show coming here as well, which is but you see a lot of like customized effort within motorcycle, within different segment, and so being able actually to transform something that is standard into something that is only for you, I think it's a cool activity for our customers. At the end of the day, as a company, and that's also our mission as well, we want to inspire people to ride, basically like lowering the barriers, right? So if you're more comfortable to ride because you have something that is like very, it's matching your skin.
Yeah.
Then it's becoming very
feel good, ride good.
Yeah.
Well, 2025 Revit is now sponsoring the Moto America Talent Cup, correct?
Correct. So, well, we are partnered with Kramer Motorcycle to basically support young athletes around around the US. I think the Talent Cup has a lot of potential also to feed the next generation of American into the MotoGP. That's how actually I think we started. So we like the idea of supporting actually younger athletes into that. We're not the official sponsor because there are a couple of other sponsors for the cup, but we're there actually with Kramer to support the athletes.
I love that. I love that. We had, do you know Eaton? Do you know Eaton? What's
Boot bolt.
I know
he's he sponsors young American racers in the States here, also out of California. And I love seeing that, you know, companies now taking some investment and time into developing young talent in the States, which is great. So it's been awesome to see how much has advanced since, you know, because I know in Europe, MotoGP is basically life. I mean, people live and breathe it. And in the States, it's a little bit of a slower process here. But now it's great seeing all these companies investing in a talent in the U.S. So that's got to excite you also as the president of the company.
Yeah, I know it's coming up quickly here in the US in Austin. Again, so in MotoGP, we used to have of course, as we all know, 3 MotoGPs during actually 1 or 2 years as well. But no, I think there is a lot of potential. I think at this very moment, I believe MotoGP owners is back in the US, so they are owned by US investment group. So I'm sure there will be more opportunities to have other MotoGPs within the US. So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, the MotoGP is there is lots of adrenaline and so on, and our sport, our industry as well needs that.
For sure.
I continue to say that in order to continue to grow, in order to get new customers on board and so on, we need the fun on one side and we need adrenaline on the other side, right? So because that's what we like about motorcycles as well. So
that's right.
Yeah. Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical-grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the U.S. for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a Butt Buffer for every rider's style. Get your Butt Buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
Absolutely. So going back a little bit from sports, we were talking about lessons learned and habits developed in sports and how that crosses over into business. They both require discipline, adaptability. Have there been any other standout moments where your track and field experience directly influenced your leadership at Revit?
yeah, I mean some quick comparison, but I keep saying that track and field is an individual sport, which is
Mm-hmm.
but as I said also before, it is at the same time there is a great community, and I also believe it's a little bit of a team sport as well, right? Because when you're part of, I don't know, for example, some club or national teams, you compete with, of course, in the individual races, you compete with other people, but then the same people feel that they run the relay with you, right?
That's right. Your teammates,
yeah, they're teammates, and again, they're friends that you keep for life. And so one of the best things of a relay is that it's to me actually was one of the best moments. We won some national title with that as well, but like push each other, to the finish line. That's what it was important overall.
Yeah.
So going back to business, I think I'm my role, more than anything, is just trying to motivate everybody in our team, to get to the finish line, which is like I don't think there is never a finish line, but it's at least to a finish of a project or something like but or a goal and so on. So
Right.
I think overall, um, I Revit is a very respectful company in terms of relationship with employees, but also with suppliers and so on. Our relationship with us are important. We have dealers actually that are with us for a long time, and we do believe in that. That said, we also like to push each other, to
Right. You have to. Yeah,
to
you
get
have to.
to get to the right situation. So
The
That's
best
right.
results, yeah.
yeah, to the right results. So that's I think is the best. Probably it's another sort of feature that you can learn. Also, in sport as well.
Of course.
And again, community is important. I think that's a little bit the situation where sometimes even if you're competitors, you forget that you work and live within the same industry community and so on. At the end, the goal is the same. It doesn't make any change. But yeah, I think it's piecing together a challenge or reunite, or put together with also some competitors like a good plan to have more customers. That should be
Of
the
course.
and
Most important. Yeah.
yeah, and with that, I would like also to make a quick example of the situation of Denver, because we just had a panel here at the show, and I was part of a panel with during the show with other two people, and we talk about how we tackle the situation in Denver. So I moved basically the headquarters from New York to Denver about 4 years ago, and we settled in basically in front of other two dealers, which are very close. There is Enrico Ducati and the Revzilla just in front of us.
Oh wow. Okay.
So our goal was not just to set the headquarters, but also to set our first worldwide monobrand store. We, of course, a retail space and so on. And I would like if you ever come to Denver,
Love to.
for you guys, to check it
Would
out.
love to.
But how we tackle the situation, because Revit basically at this point is sold, and we're talking about really in front, like there is a road, Walnut Street, and we're just in front of us, on the other side of the road, there are these two dealers that are attached. And Revit is sold at all three locations, right? So, but we came in actually with a idea of really cooperating together. So there is a Ducati standard dealer, which, in the idea of the owner, basically, he wanted to create a sort of a motorcycle mecca, for people to get there, to buy and to get relaxed and so on. And
Right.
So Revzilla also came after, and we came as the last one. And it was the last one.
Okay.
As the last people that arrived, we wanted to make sure that we want to collaborate with them as much as possible. Each of us has his own specialty. We don't sell actually motorcycle. We only sell actually Revit gear. Yeah, and there is actually Revzilla in front of us. And so basically, collaboration was important. Is important, and we created basically a good, a consistent action schedule of events together with a customer, with a final customer in mind. So that's actually what I was saying before. Is let's tackle the industry together. Let's figure out how to get more riders into motorcycles. Exactly.
Right. That's awesome.
So it's you're all right in that motorcycle mecca. So it's kind of like you're competing teams, but within the same league to an extent because you're all quick. This is more of a statement than a question, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Talking about the intertwinings of sports and business and the lessons you learn in sports and bringing them over to business. It just kind of dawned on me. A lot of teams and coaches get a lot of flack these days for the participation trophies and everybody gets a trophy, everybody can win and blah, blah, blah. But it kind of eliminates or at least minimizes that competitive edge that is such a great lesson for kids. And I think a lot of people might not even really think about how, they're thinking that let's bring all the kids up and make them all feel good and give them all trophies. And they're not thinking about how they're actually hurting the kids' futures because they're removing they're removing those lessons that you can learn from sports. And with two younger girls, have you experienced anything like that with any of the sports that they're in, if they are?
Yeah, it's for sure. And I think it's coming to the point is this. I do believe, of course, in competition and pushing it, yourself to where you need to be. And also get rewarded for that part. But I also believe in the right development of right mentality development as well. Meaning that kid that is 7, 8, 9 years old needs to have fun and needs to be part of a team in the right way.
Of course.
And after that, I think things need to change a little bit. But I think I always struggle a little bit with the boundaries or boundaries between recognition, performance, pushing through as much as hard as possible with, of course, development, following the right steps, because I think there is something for every age as well, for the kids and so on. So
definitely.
So, but I think it's the secret, of course, is one more time is to have fun, so also in that regard, I think that the results will come if you have fun. So, and recognition as well, So if you keep, I don't think, the pushing to the limits at a certain age makes sense. But if you keep actually working hard and if you keep actually creating, the right results, then you will get what you need to continue to do it. So,
that's right. And that actually leads us right into the next question, which is balancing your leadership and coaching. Because you also train athletes at the Evergreen Sports Academy, correct?
Correct. I don't know. You read a lot of stuff.
Oh man, I told you we do our homework here. So
prepared.
How do you balance your time between business and staying also connected to your athletic roots?
Yeah, it's something that as we all know, time as you guys know probably very well as well. Time is limited as you keep doing many things and so on. But no, but I wanted to keep actually that connection because I think it's important. I want to translate and transform and give actually the opportunity to my kids as well to experience, the same fun that I had back in the days.
That's right.
So, I travel quite a bit and so, and of course, daily hours are limited, but I wanted to do that because it's a way again to give back, some good stuff that I experienced as well. So,
Paolo, let me ask you a question. For people who may not be familiar with the Evergreen Sports Academy, can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, Evergreen Sports Academy is a nonprofit organization that was created by Sacha Khan, which is a well recognized basketball players, which happen to live where I live in Evergreen. So our kids actually join the program, basketball program with them, and we we became friends, and basically we set up this track and field program on top of basketball, which is the core of academy as well. And we started not too long ago, but we've been. I think it was fun, of course, like to restart. There are lots of things, of course, when you start like in business, but when you start actually like a track and field team to think about, and in coaching is another thing that is quite interesting, because even if the group of people that you coach is small, so many things that you need to think about, of course, right? When you coach a team or which is like very comparable to, or if not more, on what you do in business as well. So it's a good training at the same time, like, you know, an exciting way of doing, put your mind actually in a different state than just business as well. So
that definitely makes sense. All right, so challenges, pivotal moments. Every career has its defining moments and challenges that test you. Was there ever a time that you felt like you were at a crossroads, and what did you do to get past it? How did you overcome what you were facing?
Yeah, you mean like personal or in business in general, business wise, or
Personal.
It could be
Personal's probably a good one, because it's always, you know, I think every person hits a crossroad, whatever they're doing. So I think the personal part's going to be a little bit more heartfelt than just regular business stuff.
Yeah, there are many, like, I don't think there was like a very strong. Again, probably because I'm stubborn, or I'm trying to be optimistic as much as possible. But I don't think it was like a very hard moment. Although, as I mentioned before, like, you know, I decided to go back to Italy. On my first longer adventure in the US after the time like with that I spent after 5 years in the US, I decided to go back in Italy because I got homesick, and I think that's sort of like affecting the personal and business situation, because it's something that I really wanted to explore, and it wouldn't be good just to put it up overall. So that's actually probably one of the milestones of this situation. But I went back to Italy for about 2 years and a half, and for some reason, again, I'm Italian. I believe in the Italian culture and so on. But I do like actually working in the US. I do like living in the US. With compromises, but overall, so I wanted to be back in New York with Revit when I started again. So I would say, like, you know, it also taught me to be like, different things. But overall, I cannot think of any other, like, you know, sort of like hardest moment. Of course, like business wise, or like, challenges every day. You know, the market, as we all know, like is quite. As a company, we want to continue to grow, and we're growing, like, you know, every year. But of course, challenges are every day. So present every day. So we need to figure out, like, you know, how to find a solution and continue to move on. But
that's awesome.
How often do you get back to Italy?
Because I'm part of the board of Revit, I go back to Europe at least, I'll say once a quarter.
Nice.
And
nice, that's great.
I try to whenever I do that, I try either to do 1 day earlier and 1 day after in Italy. Stop.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is like, so that's allowed me to bring back you know, a couple of bottles of wine, or a couple of bottles of water.
Right. Go back. The food, you can't compare the food quality between Italy and the States.
It's different. I have to say, like, you know, depending on the places, like, you know, you can find also good qualities of stuff. Of course, the cost is different, but yes, that's where, like,
This next question I've been kind of excited to ask you because you're so into the gear part and you know what your competitors are doing and what you guys are in the forefronts of. Basically, the future of motorcycle gear and innovation. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5-10 years? And what innovations and trends are you most excited about?
Yeah, there is definitely like the market, as we just said, like continues to change. Right, there is not a situation of stalling and so on. For it, innovation is quite important. I mean, it's part of together with like design and performance.
Right.
It's a pillar, that
Yeah.
that we have. We have an entire department that is focusing on consistent innovation. Overall, I as we just discussed, like there are sort of the biggest trend, for sure. Like customization is one of them. I do believe that people will continue to search for something a bit more unique, a bit more made to measure in general. So I think we try to explore this more as an industry and figure out actually what we can do in order to service better the customers. Protection is one of the biggest things, of course, to work, right? Because safety, is as much as safety is a boring concept.
It's so important.
But it is hard to market, marketing, but but it's very important, and it's becoming more and more important when motorcycles like are competing on the roads, like
Oh, I know.
cars and all that stuff, right? So I think safety will be definitely an important challenge for every manufacturer. It's like I think airbags is definitely like a result of that, but there is so much to do, in
Right.
to figure out how to protect better and so on. In general, I think. Sorry.
Is that where I'll sorry, is that where I'll be is that what you're seeing with most of these gear manufacturers from around the world? Everybody's putting a lot of concentration in the airbag systems.
For sure, I think is
Yeah.
I think every major company has a solution, in that field, and as well, I think is important, but it's a sort of a start of something that will continue to grow, because of course, like safety again on a motorcycle is will be quite it's always a challenge, it's kind of,
Right.
especially for
Yeah.
us, especially for the
course.
family and so on. So
Absolutely.
and in general, I think is continuous innovation within the gear. As I just specifically asked, is what we need as well. Like going back to Revit one more time, like as I said, we want to inspire people to ride, and one more time, we inspire people to ride from the top of the rider type pyramid. And so if we inspire, I think, the most demanding customers or riders, then they will inspire other people as well, right?
Gotcha.
But in order to inspire the most demanding rider, you need to continue to innovate, right? You need to continue to provide solutions that are, as I was saying before, they help to lower the barrier, right? So when you're riding in the best comfortable situation, so your brain focus on what you're doing and not on sweating or you're cold and blah blah blah. I think part is very basic and simple, but it's part of a company like ours, really to produce like a shield around you, around around actually what you're doing, in order to make you stronger, right?
Well, what are you seeing? What are you seeing with the helmets? We're talking about the airbag system for the body and the suits and the pants and the jackets. What are you seeing in the helmet changes for this coming up in the next 5-10 years? Well, what kind of things, innovations are being worked on?
The helmet is interesting because the helmet is has been the same for
Ever.
since
Right.
yeah since basically, of course, like at the beginning that we had like some heavy leather helmets around, but then as soon as the fiberglass or plastic actually came out, of course, within the helmet, that actually was the shape, that was the material. Of course,
Right.
I'm trying to simplify, but this
Of course.
that was pretty much shape, the element and so on. There is much more, of course, innovation that was built for the years, but I think one of the biggest things for the helmet is, of course, the certification. So there are actually specific criteria that needs to be implemented, in order to have a helmet. So those are also the limits as well, like, just to create innovation. But I think in general, gear, helmets, they need to think about, they need to start to talk also with motorcycle. Or we need to be connected more and more with motorcycle. And so I think in terms of innovation, there would be a good amount of focus about how to integrate again the helmet and, for example, stopping light that's already happening,
Right.
or on the vision, like
Right. And you're seeing more and more of that on the market now.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see actually like some work put it there, and I think the future will also with AI and bunch of other things like will help to connect all these parts actually together with the bike, because that's the bike is probably the thing that is reacting probably quickly to a need, a brake or acceleration, so on. So if you have everything integrated within the motion of a bike, then of course once again the safety of a person will be preserved.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
This makes me think about Brent Massey and the radar systems that he's got rolling. That's some super cool stuff.
Yeah. Are you familiar with radar systems?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. We had Brent on the show. It was very interesting.
Oh, really?
Safety.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. One way I think to make safety sexy is my marketing brain is going off, but I'm thinking about marketing and targeting the older children of riders, the husband or wife of a rider, or the parents of a younger rider, and targeting them with that's who would really appreciate the safety sometimes, and I think more often so maybe than the rider themselves. That would be kind of a fun.
And you know what, Ben? A lot
pursue.
of it has to do with weight of the helmet. There's a lot of things, like the cheaper helmets tend to be a little heavier, and you get fatigued as you drive. And I'm speaking strictly from the Harley Davidson side of riding. So you see a lot of the Harley guys, they wear minimal helmets, small helmets, whatever it is. And then the super light helmets, the top of the line helmets, they're big money. So not everybody can swing, $1,000 for a helmet or whatever it is. So people try. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, I'm a helmet wearer myself. Since my son's been born in 2006,
even
I
when
put
you're
a
not
helmet
on a
on.
bike.
Right. Well, that's just so I don't hurt myself. when the small bus picks me up, that's but in all sincerity, going back, it's really, I think, with helmet being a choice, in some states it's not required. A lot of it does have to do with the weight of the helmet and obviously the look. So if you're wearing, people don't like looking in the mirror and seeing a big mushroom on their head. So they don't feel comfortable on the bike because they don't feel comfortable. There's so much that goes into this stuff, man. But reality, it's all about safety and about making sure that, God forbid, if something happens, your noggin's protected.
Yeah, no, 100%. But in general, I do believe safety is a bigger thing, and it's a barrier, especially like just for new riders or for people married as well. It's a concern, like for family, like it's you ride, you're gonna be safe and this and that, of course. So I think in general, being able to create a safer environment for what it is, like, of course, because you're still actually riding a motorcycle, you're still actually riding on the road and so on. So Creating a safer environment should be the goal, as an industry overall. And
Absolutely.
and then we can market also to a family and say, hey, by the way,
That's right.
it's actually the progress
Yeah.
that we did, and so on. But yeah, we still have some as an industry, as I said, we should work together, all together to do this. That could be a good exercise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, so now let's get into your advice for up and comers. You've experienced success in multiple fields, and if you had one piece of advice to give to someone looking to make their mark in sports, business, or motorcycling, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in a position of giving advice to anybody, but overall, no. But I as I mentioned before, like I really like what I'm doing, and I know it's everybody keeps saying like just follow your dreams or follow what is fun and so on, but that's really I think the most important thing. If you like what you're doing, and if you are enthusiast, and if you can bring the same enthusiasm to the team and to people around you, and everything is becoming easier. Oh, and yeah, it's that, and of course, like really focus on trying to do what you need to do, which is like for me was important to start and continue to work in this business, and I had the opportunity to come to the US, which is also was a little bit like it requires some courage, just as a choice. But again, that you have fun and you like what you're doing. It's actually the same thing. Then everything became easier. Even actually moving, from a small town,
Right. Small town of Italy
to New
New
York.
York City. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So so that's what I like, and I don't think I think for the US, I do believe like right now as well, like different things going on, but like in general, like there are lots of opportunities in the US, there are lots of opportunities in Italy, there are lots of opportunities everywhere. And again, as long as you really want to do and create some difference and be creative, I think that's what you need to do. Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get into the speed round to end the show, I want to ask you, for people listening, where can they get a hold of you? How can they follow you or your company? What's the best social media outlets that you guys use and people to follow?
Yeah, we have all the social media available, of course. Like you can actually like check them starting from the revsport.com website. Probably that's the best easier place to start. But then of course, Instagram and as an example, it's easy actually to follow us, and we have different channels as well. We're just launching probably in a week also a specific Instagram North America account.
Nice.
Where we'll be able basically to promote all the activities that we do within North America and connection with dealers, events, and so on. So
Awesome.
So that's it.
We're gonna link all that information from the website to all your accounts on the notes section of this podcast, so our listeners could just click on and go in. So that's should
Thank
be
you.
cool. So
Yeah.
all right,
By the
my
time
man,
this
you
comes
ready
out,
for?
We should have by the time this comes out, that North America IG account should be live, so we'll include that too.
Oh, very good.
In a couple of weeks, right? All right. Well, we're gonna get into a 15-round speed round questions with you. Kind of get a chance to get to know you a little bit on the fun level too. have some fun with this. So let me know when you're ready to go. We'll kick it off.
All right. Should I put my headphones on or no?
No, you're good. You're good. All right, let's go. First
Just
one.
a blindfold.
What's the fastest you've ever gone on a motorcycle?
Oh, I cannot say this. Well, let's say let's say 140.
140. Okay. Favorite musician of all time?
Vasco Rossi is an Italian singer.
Okay. If you can design a custom Revit suit for any athlete or celebrity, who would it be?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Okay.
Nice.
What's your favorite Italian dish that Americans always get wrong?
Pasta.
Pasta. Yeah, that's easy.
That's
so
an easy
funny.
one.
That was such a simple one. All right. That's funny. All right. If you could have dinner with any one person, living or dead, who would it be?
Ooh. Yeah, I'll give a shot to. I would like to have a dinner with my grandparents. Like
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, my northern aunt, because I didn't have a chance to
That's cool.
to stay with them too much. So anyway,
That's a
No,
good
that's
one. That's a
awesome.
great answer. Favorite track and field event other than hurdles?
javelin.
Okay, good one. Yeah, I like that one too.
That's cool.
If you had to wear one outfit for the rest of your life, business suit, racing leathers, or athletic gear, which one are you picking?
Yeah. I would say like a business jacket with a leather
With the
pack.
racing suit on. How you just take it off and jump on your bike? Nice. I love it, man. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Best motorcycle you have ever owned or ridden?
1200 GS BMW.
Okay, that's a good bike. Yeah. Okay. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah, continue to push. That's actually like my track and field coach used to say this, like just continue to push and you will have fun. So that's what it is. Said.
Okay.
Simple but solid. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What's one thing most people would be surprised to hear about you?
That's a hard one. I don't know. I'm an engineer. So normally engineers are quite squared. I like to be creative as well. So
All right.
That's
a good one.
unique.
things. Yeah.
That's a good one. Would you rather coach the next Olympic gold medalist or develop the next MotoGP champion?
Yeah. No, and I would like to coach the next Olympic gold medalist.
Okay, cool one. If you could instantly master any new skill, what would it be?
I would like connection and communication with people. I think is always. I like to engage with people. I like to talk to people, but there is always better things to improve and so on. So I would like to continue to find new ways to communicate in a better way.
Gotcha. All right, that's good.
Cool.
What's your guilty but go-to pleasure for an alcoholic beverage? And if you don't drink, what's your go-to snack?
Yeah, I like good bottles of wine.
Okay.
Red wine,
What kind of wine?
Barolo, for example, or Barbaresco. But
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
I mean, it's I like to drink. I never actually drink too much. Yeah, but like yeah, I think it's a
Understand.
good
Oh, a good glass of wine's a good glass of wine.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, all right. If you could swap lives with someone for a day, who would it be and why?
Yeah. There is a lot of there are a lot of people, of course, that I would like to figure out better. I had the pleasure actually to meet many times Valentino Rossi. And I know it's a pretty standard one, but
That's a great one.
I would like to I would like to be able to go as fast as it goes and so for a day,
Paolo,
I think
you know what's amazing? We've had a lot of people from Europe, overseas, on the show, and I would say 9 out of 10 of them always pick Rossi. It's amazing. It's amazing to us in the States here how influential he really was overseas.
No,
It's amazing.
He's a great guy.
He's like Messi in soccer.
Yeah. He's a great guy. It's an icon in our sport. I think it's just like it's one. I think it's every number of years you have like, a legend that is born, like, within the sport. And it's one of them.
All right.
And when that legend is just as cool in person as they appear on the screen or in a race, that's what's solid.
Yeah, that's the thing about him, 100%. And again, I had the pleasure to meet him in a very close situation, like many times. And it was actually that's it. It's an easy. It's when you that's the cool part. Yeah.
All right. Finish this sentence. At the end of the day, life is all about
love.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. That's right. It's true, man. It's true. It's a great one. I like that.
It's true. But I think it's important, as I was saying before, like, you need to put love in what you're doing, no matter what.
Right.
Otherwise,
right.
and you need to care about what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not happening. Yeah.
Good one. All right. Last question. Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, of course, what other podcasts do you listen to?
Yeah, I have I don't spend too many hours anymore in the car because I have a shorter commute when I used to live in New York. But when I do, I have a couple of podcasts. One is a show that is an Italian show.
Okay.
It's called Il Volo del Mattino, and is a sort of like a daily podcast that is coming out of there. I also listen to the best one yet show podcast that is like sort of a business news stuff happening like daily as well.
Yeah.
I don't have any other interesting motorcycle podcasts, so I'll start to listen more to
All right. Good. All right, Paolo, you made it with flying colors, brother. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show. This has been awesome for us. I know you live in this stuff day to day. For us and our listeners, this is very educational because we're talking to a president of a major company, a U.S.-based company, and that specializes in gear for the safety of motorcycle riders. So it's been awesome to get to know your journey and everything you've gone through. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show.
No, thank you for inviting me. It's been cool. And I hope overall, I think I would like to meet you guys in person. So next time I'll be in Florida or vice versa. If you're in Denver, just let me know.
Yes.
You got it. Got it.
And you had mentioned the skill that you could snap your fingers and improve would be communication. I have to let you know that I think that your speed round, you were the fastest answers out of anybody that we've had. There was no hesitation. It was.
It's a good thing we didn't give him any like what we normally do. Like if you don't make the 2 minutes, if you don't make the 2 minutes, we owe you this or you owe us that. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, Paolo, thanks for joining us, man. Your business acumen, your insights, it's all fascinating. We really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely,
and we're
man.
very grateful for you joining.
No, thank you very much. Good to meet you guys.
Likewise.
You as well. Have a great day.
Ciao.
Ciao.